Critical EDH. Are you in good hands?
Like a good neighbor, Critical H is there.
Hell yeah.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Critical
He's just
EDH.
giving us free ones now. This is awesome. So who are we joined with?
Dude,
joined by
Logan Doan. What's up? The Guard Master.
I'm the featured guest.
What's up? I'm Logan. This is Goldsabertooth.
Logan.
Yeah. You don't want to see me draw. You don't. You really don't. But yeah, we're here with Goldsaber.
What's going on?
Absolutely been killing it at the event.
Yeah.
Thank
throwing
you.
out good vibes. Making
Thank you.
The hottest APs.
Thank you. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
I'm really having fun.
Dude,
Awesome.
I feel like you see a lot of your playmats out in the wild anyways, but every time I look into that corner there, you're always signing something or, selling mats or whatever. Man. But you're also like doing really good in the tournament.
Thank you.
Like I feel like Magic is such this like mental game, it requires so much focus. How do you go from like literally managing like a business to like trying to politic at a table?
Flow state. I think it's actually good. I think having the ability to pivot between doing something very intense and focused, like navigating like 100 competitive singleton Magic at the highest level, and like drawing, it is a kind of cross training. I'm not exercising the same part of my brain. I think the part of my brain that is like intuitive and feeling like gets kind of like juiced up during one activity, while the other part of myself that's like more methodical is kind of like
You're like
resting.
left brain versus right brain.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's been really kind of good. Like I started doing it almost as like a meme where people were like, I was at one event to play. First one, Silicon Dynasty. Shout out to Eminence, Top Deck at the time. They were like, oh, you're coming? Like, we love your artwork. Would you just draw a token for us? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
So they saw it online, drew a token for them. And then they're like, well, you can just bring some of your wares and sell them there if you want. We don't have any vendors that are doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That was my first event. I didn't even have anything.
How long ago was that?
Like 2-3 years ago.
Wow.
Okay.
So you're really taking off since then.
Yeah, and then my wife was like, "Well, go to the print shop, the Practical Paper Co. in our town, and be like printing some tokens up." She like ordered me some boxes on Amazon, and I just posted up. I'd never really done it, but I had a free. They gave me they let me play in the event for free, so I was like, I might as well play.
Yeah.
And then like people were being like, "Whoa, that guy is nice with it. He won, and he's like drawing stuff." And then it kind of became a shtick. But I actually don't think it's a detriment. Some people think like, oh, it might be hard to multitask, but it's actually the opposite. I actually think I'm able to like relax and like, the best thing I will say, it's way easier for me to compartmentalize the games, and it allows me to like write the ship and rewrite the narrative of like the tournament. Sometimes we're like, I think sometimes I really play. I know I play bad when I'm a worrier. I'm not a worrier, but like I think I chew on things mentally.
Yeah, gotcha.
And if I like punted, I'm the kind of person that can be really hard on myself and be like, oh, what the fuck, man? I know this. Should have tutored Bowmaster. I should have trusted my gut on this one, because I'm always battling between like my heart and my brain.
You think you're like really self-critical?
Yeah, because I'm so competitive.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am like that like psychotically competitive person, and that's why, because I'm so hard on myself.
Weird, you're so friendly.
I am, but I'm also like my wife, when we were living in hospital housing up on the res, and like we had this one night where she's like, oh, my friends want to play Settlers of Catan. It's kind of like Magic or Risk.
Oh,
and you want to come? And then it's like 3 hours later, and I'm like, listen, Vanessa. I'm like, I hold all the cards here. I've got the wheat. You can't make any roads without the bricks. I was like, who are you getting bricks from? Who are you getting bricks from? I control the ports. And like, she's like, starts crying, and my wife's like, what is happening? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
You're out.
You wrap it up. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No.
I thought I was like,
he's like standing out of shot. No.
No, it's just, I can literally see it. Like,
great.
So
you're gonna get cheap? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's
competitive
the cool
Catan.
I do think though that Magic is a way to resolve the shadow.
That's so interesting.
In our like personality, because how I want to be seen versus how I want to be seen in my most magnanimous versus how I see myself in my most shameful moment.
That's so
are
interesting.
at war in ourselves. And I feel like, as like a sharp kid, and as a kid, I was like kind of oddly like competitive and like
You're looking for like an outlet for
aggression, but in a way. But
yeah.
my family, I was just let it holler. My family was really, they're Italian and they like to like bust balls.
Gotcha.
And they were really
You're
hard
from
on
the Northeast. You're
yeah,
from,
the
like,
Northeast,
New York, right?
New York. And my
Yeah.
family's Italian, and they'd just be like one time we were a kid, and they'd be like, "Well, who's the smartest guy in the room?" And I was like in 5th grade, I was like, "It's probably me." And my dad's like, "Oh, you think you're smarter than me?" And I was like, "I'm probably smarter than you." And and he was like really mad about it. So then when I would fuck up, they'd be like, "Hey, look, it's the smartest guy in the room," and they would like make fun of me. But like, I really probably was. I was like a precocious kid, and but they were always kind of like nagging me, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, Tim's a schemer. He's a mastermind. Like he's always trying to like manipulate the situation."
And here we are today.
Good.
Like you are.
I am.
Yeah,
they were right. They were no.
They were right.
All these years later,
my self-critical part of myself is ashamed of being seen as manipulative or cunning.
Dude, that is so real.
So I'm always
Eric,
at war with
we're
that.
seeing the back of your head.
Okay.
You should.
But
move to that.
Pretty good.
I'm at war with that part of myself that wants to be liked and wants I think I talk about this, my wife sometimes who I want to be in an idealized state, and the shadow of being who that the early voice of the regretful side of us believes ourselves to be. And I think in Magic it's I can actually, instead of just renouncing the part of myself that is cunning or being too much of a pushover in the game, I can walk that line.
Bro.
There can be a certain kind of harmony, and I can embrace the shadow. I can still be I will regulate. I will stand up for politicking. I will guide the table. I will advance myself, but I'm also not going to make bad deals. I want to be.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can ask anyone here. I have a reputation, I think, of being a good player,
fierce competitor,
but also not a sleaze.
Yeah, you're not bullying people, right?
I think a lot of people.
It's hard to do.
A lot of people in the space, especially people that are forward-facing or public-facing,
Yeah.
we're trying to find that line. I think it's even us on a small level because we're just starting a new channel.
People look up to you.
Well, we have people coming over and saying "Hey, dudes," we're I have no idea who you are.
Doesn't feel nice though.
But yeah, I mean it's nice because now I need to conduct myself in a certain way and have to be
there
a
is
better
an
player
accountability.
For it. Exactly.
Right, because I know I can be in a game and go back on a deal where I'm I won't crap this Ranger captain.
Yeah.
Even though it's I should totally crack this Ranger captain and go for it. But then I don't want this reputation of being oh, Gold, I got his tokens are sweet, but the dude's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
He lied to me in the game.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to
You don't
be
wanna
my
be that way.
legacy. Not at all.
Yeah, and I don't.
Net negative.
I don't think you realize how many of those. You're not setting out to lie or be sleazebag, but then once you set the goal of I need to have a good
Comportment.
reputation, you
Integrity.
suddenly realize I need to be way more careful.
Right. Well,
But that's good. I think that's good.
there was a game we were in the finals at one of the play to win tournaments. We'd already split, so everyone had $500 in our pocket.
Oh,
So we're just playing for clout. And a guy made a deal where
clout's way more important than cash.
So there was a guy who made a deal where he's I will use this. If you packed this, and the guy was basically time walking himself. If you pack this,
one of those
I will
deals.
use the tutor to get a removal spell for Yuriko so we don't die in the Yuriko trigger. And then the guy went back. He's the guy's bet. Cast a spell, time walk himself. And then that guy's I'm going to just tutor for Thoracle and win. And I stopped him. I was the only thing on this line in this game is your integrity at this point. And is it worth it? And I was this guy is gonna. The guy, the T&K player. Sorry to embarrass you. He was almost in tears because he was just I made this deal. This guy's just sleazing me.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I was you're really gonna do that? It's really worth it. And it was kind of a tense moment, the whole because everyone's at the finals. Everyone's holy shit. And then after the game, and the guy was kind of and he's handshake. He's no, fine. I'll get the Rollick, and he Rollicks it, and the game goes on. And later the next day, and I was kind of man, was I too forceful and too guilt trippy on that guy? But 2 different people came up to me and they were dude, Gold, that meant so much to see you
integrity,
stand up to that guy when he was trying to dock slime some guy on on
what's
a
it worth?
fun-of game.
Yeah,
that's why I said we got $500 in our pocket. What do we care?
Yeah. So interesting.
And I was glad I did it for someone else, even if not for myself.
I've been in situations like that, and I'm now very cognizant of what deals I'm making. And regardless of what new information comes my way, it's am I really willing to do the deal regardless of any other situation?
Yes.
And so I start considering that, and I don't want to put myself in those positions where oh, now there's a window. It's well, there's always a window, or there's always something. But
there's always an opportunity to take advantage of people.
Yeah.
But But the measure of a man, what's it worth?
Mm-hmm.
The measure of a man is the ability to be benevolent when it's more advantageous to be cunning.
Yeah.
So you've got this play style, but here you are in near the top of the bracket.
Yeah, third place.
And so what you're telling me is you don't have to lie. You don't
It's
have
positive EV.
be above board. Like talk about what's going on and be truthful, and then guess what? You can make it to the top.
There was a great game where out of this guy I was playing, Sam, who's a really good player, Rog Thras, and I just said to him, heads up, I was like, if I put a win on the stack, I will draw. I know you want the draw. I was like, it doesn't matter to me, win or draw.
Yeah.
But I'm like, these two guys won't offer you a draw because they want to win, and at this point, you're so far behind. One is better than zero, you know. And I said, if you really don't, I'm like, don't just trust them. Ask to see their hands and ask them not to go for a win. Neither of them would do it, and neither would do it, and neither of them would show their hands.
That tells you a lot.
And so then I was like, okay, that's all you need to know. Cast your spells, but that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
I showed you my hand. I'm willing not to win, but maybe they are.
Yeah, right.
And it was true. The guy was like, yeah, I was gonna try to win. You know, he was like, I was gonna say just. He was gonna walk the line. He'd go up to the line and then not say anymore in a way.
Yeah.
That's called lying through omission, though.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
That's a gray area. You know, like sometimes people just ask you things flat out, and you're like, bro, like I can't answer.
That's
that
fine,
question.
though. That's fine.
Yeah.
But that tells you everything you need to know.
Exactly.
Don't take that to mean more.
Yeah.
That's on you then.
That's super fascinating. Well, first off,
what's up?
It sounds like you're a huge fan of like Jung psychology.
I am.
That kind of like shadow self.
100%.
It is so intriguing.
My brother's the puer aeternus.
We're getting into the weeds.
And
you're not.
I'm a
This is where I wanna
Scorpio. But no, I think talking about like there is just so much wheeling and dealing happening in CDH these days, which kind of after our conversation with Ian, comedian, I think
love him.
I think of it less as like a bad thing because he's talking about how in many ways it is kind of the heartbeat of the format, but it does need to be kept in check. For instance, you just can't have people lying or being sleazebags. Being in this position where like you're a huge politicker, but you also know that you have this huge desire to be competitive. How do you know where to draw the line of like politicking versus like what a judge might call aggressive politicking?
It's just gut feel, and like, I mean, you can't be perfect all the time, but be willing to be conciliatory. There's certain times where I've been like I was in a tournament and I told the Magda player, I like showed him a Swords of Plowshare. I was like, you get one treasure or you get no treasures. I was like, here's the deal. I'm like, I was like, we're gonna go in that player's turn. I'm like, don't you want me to have this in my hand so we can deal with blank, or are you going to try to be greedy and push right here? And then the guy was like kind of taking it back, and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I was like, I turned into like Tony Soprano. I'm like, do you see this fucking path? You see this fucking path? I was getting like so insane. But in the moment, you get caught up in the moment. You got to be willing to like
deliberate.
Yeah, and just like double and like regulate and be like afterwards. Sometimes just a hand being like, dude, I was crazy. They got tense, and usually most people are like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I just came off of a really rough round.
Talk to me.
Let's hear about it.
The specifics are not important. I keep saying that, but like the feel I got from the round was like I was getting stonewalled by a player, and like
in what regard?
Well.
You just let it rip?
Yeah, like two players were pretty ahead. They had draw engines, and I didn't have anything. And then I got like Notion Thief. I got Oppoed twice.
Oh my!
And you felt like you couldn't use your words to like break through that.
Like I have all these tools at my disposal.
Yeah.
I can normally talk to what I would consider a reasonable player like you or Eric and be like, hey man, like I'm just trying to get a land. I'm trying to get like anything to like participate and. You cannot hold the floodgates back of two players. Yeah. But I essentially just got like stonewalled.
Were you able to say that too? Be
yeah.
Be like, you want me in this game because if they're running away, do you really want to like it's like the crabs in the bucket. They can't get out because they keep like you want to just like
exactly. This player was under like a delusion that they had a windfall, and that was like their giant game plan. These two players with 20 cards in hand. I had 2 cards. He had like 5, and he's like, I'm going to resolve windfall. I said, there's no way you're resolving a windfall into 40 cards. There's a counterspell. There's something that they
don't want you to. They don't want to equalize.
Yeah. You just
again, like the specifics are not that important, but the sense I got was I could not communicate enough to them. That like we need all 4 players in this game in order to participate. How do you kind of handle the situations?
When we're Top Deck Invitational, it's good. Yeah, good question. When Top Deck Invitational, I think you just have to plead your case in a just a really sensible way and appeal to someone's best their better self. Like we were in this game and there was a TNK player way far ahead, like way far ahead. They had engines, they had their Timna, Crom, Ristic, whatever. They had it all.
Yeah.
And then I was playing Nadu. Another guy was on like TNK. We were in the fucking.
I still miss you.
We were in the
Nadu.
dungeon. We were like
4-1 out for Nadu.
4-1 for Nadu, man. We love you. Shoot goes up, dude. Yeah. So we were so far out of the game. And then the Gruel Stacks player, who's a very good player, he like slammed some sort of like no rod or stony silence or sphere or something. And I just told him, I was like, mana's not a choke point for him. I was like, cards aren't a choke point. I'm like, this sets us to the Stone Age. And I just said to him, I was like, honest, I was like, what's your goal of the game? Like, if you're playing for a draw, you think taking us out of the game is going to get you closer to that? And if you're playing for a win, how is this going to help you stop him?
Exactly.
You're gonna, I said at this point, because I think maybe you guys said on the channel, it's always a 3v1. You're either one of the three or you're the one.
Yeah.
And right now, we were definitely the 3 versus the 1. It wasn't even close. It was like seat 1, blazing start.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he was just like, he like thought about it for a while, and he was just like, and he had a good response. He's like, respectfully, I have something I'm not willing to show, but I positive I can stop on my turn. And I feel like this really eliminates your windows. I can't stop you guys.
That's all you.
That's something. All right.
All
Well,
right, hey, thank you.
you
for
guys are
joining us.
awesome. I really like you guys, and thanks for coming on the channel with the Loomer thing.
Oh,
And
dude.
you guys are awesome.
Oh, dude, right back at you. It was
Check
such a great
out
conversation.
all of Goldsabertooth's
Hit me
art
up anytime.
and the APs and
guys are
Twitter.
awesome.
Like,
Yeah. Love you guys.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
so
much.
you know,
You
thanks
will.
for interviewing us, Logan. Thanks for coming on, Tim.
Oh,
Yeah, appreciate you. All right. Bye, guys.
Best of luck.
Yep.